I think we should go, John, right to one of the most fantastic statements in all of the Hebrew Scriptures, which is Isaiah 53.
That's right.
I think that's one of the greatest statements ever produced on the mission, the nature, and the conclusion to Messiah's life.
All right.
So I'd like to take you there if I could. The great prophet Isaiah begins in the 52nd chapter, and he starts out by saying in verse 13, "Behold, my servant will have success." Now it's translated differently. Some say, "My servant will act wisely," but it's the same expression found in Joshua 1:8. He's going to win. Don't bite your fingernails. He will succeed. I've got to tell you some things that look sort of poorly for the moment. Don't forget, even the Jewish writers in the New Testament, in 1 Peter. Peter is writing to the church in chapter 1. He says in verse 8, he's been describing so great a salvation. He said it won't rust, it won't bust, it won't sag in the middle. Well, I think that must be the Living Kaiser. But there is some sort of a statement there. You can trust this salvation. Then he goes on to say, concerning which salvation the prophets searched and inquired diligently. So you have the prophets scratching their heads, and they're saying there's something we don't know. What was it that they didn't know? Concerning, he says there, they searched and inquired diligently concerning what or what manner of time was in them, that is in the Scriptures, when they spoke of Messiah, when they spoke also not only of Messiah, but of his suffering and of his glory, and in the order, the glory that was to follow, to whom it was revealed that not only unto themselves, but unto us, says Peter. He was prophesying these things. 5 things the prophets knew then. They knew they're talking about Mashiach, Messiah, about Jesus, how he was the Messiah, about the fact that he would suffer, but also the fact that he would come in a blaze of glory. And then fourthly, the order. It was suffering first and the glory that should follow. And then fifthly, that it had pertinence, relevance to those who lived in the common era, or in the New Testament times. So he says here in Isaiah 52, verse 13, look, I've got a mystery to tell you. Here's my mystery. The servant is going to win. Put that as a banner over the whole thing. Behold, my servant is going to win. But he will be raised, lifted up, and highly exalted. So don't worry about this. And then he goes on to say in verse 14 and 15, look, just as Ka'asher, Cain, he's going to make a comparison here between verse 14 and verse 15. Just as many as were appalled at him when they saw him in his first coming. His appearance was so disfigured beyond any man, his form marred beyond any human likeness. Everyone said, oh no, look at him. That doesn't look like the Messiah. That doesn't look like God's answer to the world. He's suffering. I don't want to suffer as a model, as a hero. So, he says in verse 15, so he will startle many nations. The Greek translation here, thaumazo, he'll just startle, shock the nations. And kings will shut their mouths. Our current expression is, well, shut my mouth. That's what the kings will say when they see it. They can't believe the whole thing. For what had not been told them, they will see. What they've not heard, they will understand. That's the mystery. You say, how do you put these two things together? We're still trying to understand that. But listen, in the Messiah of Jesus, Yeshua, just as many that were really so dismayed at his first coming, that would be verse 14. So, kings of all the nations will be startled when they see him in his second coming. That's the mystery of the servant. We've got suffering, and we also have glory. He will come forth. He will be resurrected from the grave by the power of God. He will be king. He will be king of Israel. He'll be king on the throne of David. He'll be king over every nation and over all the wealth of the world. What a fantastic statement, John.